wanted to show you some balance postures today because, the world is a little bananas. It's really hard sometimes to feel really grounded, really balanced, both energetically and in our body. And so to play with that sense of being a little bit off balance and being able to ground and breathe and find an internal steadiness, even when there's a little external unsteadiness, is helpful both for our physical bodies, especially as we age, but also for our mental health. So, this is a really beautiful practice just to notice and breathe, even when you feel a little unsteady. I'd encourage you to use a chair or the wall. Even if you don't actually use it, it's really nice to know the support is there. So that's another really beautiful metaphor for balancing postures, is to have places of support in set up and ready for you, whether you need them or not, which is a really great life lesson of how can you support yourself and prepare yourself to have support when you're going into situations that you know might be a little unsteady. So whether you use it or not. So we're going to start with just practicing standing on one leg or putting our weight on one foot. Okay, so you're going to start with your feet about hip distance apart. And again, if you're using a chair, we're going to start standing on our left leg. So you're going to have the chair on the left side of the body. Or if you're using the wall, your left leg is going to be closer to the wall. So first, just take a moment to roll your shoulders back, close your eyes, take a breath, and feel your feet. So just feel both of your feet on the ground and let your weight go forward, back, into the balls of the feet, into the heels. Just kind of feel what it's like to rock on your feet. Bring your weight forward, bring your weight back, and then bring your weight over to the right, over to the left. Just kind of feel that. Just letting yourself kind of sway, get a little unsteady while you breathe. Forward and back again, and then just feel yourself land somewhere on both feet that feels pretty evenly balanced on the front and the back, on the right and the left. So as best you can, feel that sense of as much balance as possible on all four corners of each foot. And then from there, bend your knees a little bit, just a gentle, soft bend in the knees, relax the buttocks, and just check in with the width of your feet. Your feet are going to be about hip distance apart, but if you feel steadier with a little wider, that's okay too. Good. And then open your eyes, if they're not already, and find a spot a few feet out in front of you. So not right directly below you and not so far out, right, that you don't want to go like way out far away, but maybe like 4 or 5 feet in front of you, something like that. And let your eye gaze go onto that spot, so slightly downward on the floor, and just find a spot, any spot on the floor to stare at. And that's going to be your focus point for the posture. So you're going to have one point that you focus on. You just breathe, and then play with bringing the weight into the left leg. Now, if you brought your feet a little wider, you want to bring them back to about hip distance apart, and you're just going to let the weight go into the left leg and just bend your right knee a little bit. So just notice what that's like. So you're going to lift your right heel up off the floor, but your toes and right ball of the foot are still on the floor. You can put your hand on the chair if that's helpful, or the wall if that's helpful. Keep staring at that point, and then play with lifting your leg up. If you get really unsteady, then bring your foot back down. You want to play with being right at the edge where you're a little unsteady, but you can still stay stable. And that's true in life. You want, if we kind of stay in a place that's too stable, we get stagnant and stuck. If we go to a place that's too unsteady, we feel chaotic and overwhelmed. So one of the growth edges when we're right on the edge of steadiness and unsteadiness. If your foot is lifted and that feels okay, you can come to bring the knee out and bring the sole of that right foot onto the calf or thigh of the left. Okay, so coming into tree pose, either in the calf or thigh. You don't want to push it right into the knee joint. Okay? It's fine also just to come back to where you were. And it's fine to bring the foot back down on the floor. But if you can, your knees turned outward, the foot is there. Then we're going to play, you can leave one hand on the chair, but bring your right hand into a prayer position or half prayer position at the sternum. Keep your eye gaze on that point, and if that feels okay, play with bringing the opposite hand there. If that's too much, just bring the hand back to the chair. If you want to keep playing, you can bring your arms up. If you want to really play with that, and so if you feel really steady with both arms up, with your knee out, even looking around, not keeping your eye gaze on that point, if you're feeling quite steady, then play with closing your eyes. Whoa, now you feel it. As soon as you close your eyes and you lose that sense of where you are in space, you'll probably feel that unsteadiness a little bit more. You can play with that and just closing your eyes for a moment and opening your eyes back up. And then when you're ready, bring your hands back down, bring your foot back down, shake that standing leg out, shake the body out a little bit, and then just come to stillness on both feet. Open your feet a little wider, bend your knees. Feel the gratitude that you have both legs, both feet to stand on the ground. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So if you use the chair, you can either just turn around or bring the chair to the other side. Again, you can also always do this using the wall. Same thing. You're going to open your feet about hip distance or a little bit wider apart. Feel both feet on the floor. Relax the buttocks, bend your knees. Find even weight on the inside and outside of both feet. Find a spot out in front of you, anywhere from 4 to 6 feet or so. Keep your eye gaze at that spot. If you need it, it's also fine to, look around a bit and kind of play with what that does to your steadiness. But to help to get more steadiness, really focus on one spot. And then bring the right leg, so it's right underneath the hip. Find the four corners of the foot again. And then start to lift, kind of peel the left heel up off the floor. And if that feels okay, actually lift the left foot up off the floor. Again, you can have your hand on the chair or the wall. If that feels okay, you can turn the knee out and bring the foot onto the calf or up onto the thigh. Continue to breathe. If that feels okay, you can bring one hand or both hands into prayer. If that feels okay, you can play with looking around the room and notice how that changes your ability to stay steady or not. You can raise your arms up, going into full, imagining that you're a tree, stretching the fingers out, kind of playing with your hand positions, imagining your fingers are like branches. And then you can either play with closing your eyes and opening them. The other way you can play with creating a little bit of that edge of steadiness and unsteadiness is imagine that you're a tree and that it's windy. And so just kind of let yourself sway forward and back. Again, always fine to have a hand on the chair. Always fine to go for the support. Playing with that edge. What happens when life creates a lot of wind? Can you stay rooted? Can you stay with your breath? Can you stay in your body? Can you use the support that's there? And then when you're ready, bring your hands back down, the foot back down, check that leg out. And open your feet a little wider. Feel the experience of having both feet on the ground. And then with your eyes closed, just taking a moment with both feet on the ground, your eyes closed, to ask yourself, where is my support? So what are some things that support me in unsteady situations? When I feel unsteady, what are some places, people, behaviors, materials, items, places in the world? Where are my support systems? So just take a moment and see if you can come up with at least 5 things or people or actions that support you when you feel unsteady. And as you're thinking of these things, really feel each one. So if you're thinking of a person, see that person. Feel their support in your body. If you're thinking of a behavior like taking a breath or running or stretching or dancing, see yourself, either actually do that thing right now, take that breath or dance or move, or just see yourself doing that. If you're thinking of an animal or a deity, if you're whatever it is, just see that thing, that action, that person, that being in your mind's eye and feel the steadiness in your body. And if it creates unsteadiness when you think of it, find something new. And then if you want, you can rewind this, or nobody rewinds anymore. Go back, do the back button, do this one again. And this time when you do the exercise, really keep in your focus that thing that steadies you. So that person, that part of nature, that prayer or mantra, that item, that memory, whatever it is that creates a steadiness and a support in your body, bring that to mind as you're doing the balance posture. So I hope that you enjoy. Thank you for being part of what supports me and my life. Even when things are so unsteady, I'm so grateful for this community and for all of the ways that you each support me by showing up.